Hello, world. Welcome back to Golf Subpar. Colt Nost and Drew Stoltz coming off the Zurich Classic down in New Orleans. Sleaze, I'm over in Dallas getting ready for a little charity event out here at Preston Trail. Bourbon Street got the best of me, my man.
It can happen. It can happen. 4 nights down there. It's like I said. It's like Vegas, dude. It's like 1 night, great. 2 nights, also really fun. 3 nights, starting to be an issue. 4 nights, I got to get the fuck out of here. Just too much of a good thing. It's like a kid on Halloween, dude. You like to eat candy, but if you eat candy strictly for 4 days in a row, it's a problem. But good to see you're still alive and ticking and headed to the motherland.
Yep, I got to tee it up today out at Preston Trail for my man Finn Ewing's charity event, so that should be very, very interesting after my last several days. But what a week down in New Orleans, man. Fun event, the team event, Zurich Classic. And Xander Schauffele and Patrick Cantlay just put on an absolute clinic. I mean, I followed them the last 2 days. It was special, dude. Now, I mean, they were one of the favorites going in. No surprise they they hoisted the trophy at the end of the day.
I mean, it's like when we were doing our gambling last week. I'm going through there. I'm looking through, all right, who do I want to pick? This team, that team. I'm like, dude, there's a team of Patrick Cantlay and Xander Schauffele. Like, how do you not pick them? It's like, this is one of the ones, if you don't pick them, you're going to go back at the end of the week and be like, I'm so stupid. And then sure enough, they come out 59-piece in the first round. Never look back. I mean, it got close. I mean, I thought it was going to be a runaway, dude. Going in the last round, it was like 5 shots. They break this thing open. There's only a couple teams even within shouting distance of them. And sure enough, it got close. Sam Burns, Billy Horschel in there. But, I mean, they just don't mess up. It's got 2 of the most solid players in the world who, A, love playing together, love playing with each other, and neither of them are bad at anything. Like, I was thinking about it yesterday. Okay, so Colt, they're now 2-0 in the President's Cup down in Melbourne. They went 2-0 at the Ryder Cup in alternate shot format, right? In the foursomes. They went 2-0. They're unbeaten. I was thinking about it in my head. I was like, if they were going to play somebody 10 times, who would you take? Any other 2-man lineup, I don't care what country they're from, would you take over Cantlay and Xander? I couldn't really think of one. I mean, you can put some of the best guys in the world together, but I don't know that they have the love for each other like Xander and Cantlay have. I think that's the best alternate shot team you can form in the world right now, and it's no surprise they've never lost, and they just won this.
Well, their games are just so similar. I mean, they hit at the same distance. You know, all their strengths are the other person's strengths. It's literally like watching the same person play. So they just go about and they like on Saturday when it was best ball, I started covering them on number 8. Neither of them missed a green. The rest of the day, I was like, in this format, like, you got to give yourself a lot of chances, and that's exactly what they did. I mean, they were playing with Aaron Ryan, David Lipsky in the last group, and these guys, I mean, were putting for par. It seemed like every hole, someone would always miss the green, and these 2 guys, every single hole, they had 2 putts at birdie. They just kept the pressure on the whole time, and then they had a little hiccup in the alternate shot in the middle of the round when it got close for a second, but then they pulled away with just incredible golf. Like I said, no surprise, but this is big for Xander Schauffele in my opinion. He hadn't won on the PGA Tour in over 1,200 days. You know, it's really struggled to close out tournaments, and it was starting to slip a little bit there on Sunday. And I think for him to get across the finish line, I know it's a team event, but I think that was really, really big for him.
Yeah, just winning in general. It ain't easy to do, and he's won, but they've been limited fields or the handicap start or the thing like, or the Olympics. You know, it hasn't been a tour event. I know that this is a 2-man team, but damn, just to get the monkey off your back. 1,200 days is hard to believe for a guy like Xander Schauffele. When you watch him play each week, you're like, how does this guy go 1,200 days without winning a golf tournament on the PGA Tour? It's hard to believe.
I mean, he did have 8 runner-ups. In that.
Yeah, he hasn't played bad golf. He's been beating around the bush a little bit. And talking about them being the same guy, did you see the clip of them walking off the green on Sunday where they were both walking off? They were walking like stride and stride. One foot was moving at the same time as the other. They both like twirled their putter, then they picked up their putter, and it was like it was like watching the same human. It was almost like creepy watching those 2. It was like they are the same dude.
Yeah, they spend a lot of time with each other. They go on vacations together. They room, they rent houses together on the road. The team's just it's a no-brainer. But I will tell you this, Saturday, so I picked them up, last group. We're on number 8 walking down the fairway, and I just give them a little nod, say hi. I stay out of the way, and all of a sudden I hear Patrick go, so Colt and Drew flew all the way to Jupiter and interviewed every golfer on my street except for me. I'm like, I was like, Patrick, you are welcome anytime you want. We are happy to have you. You literally interviewed everyone on the street.
We love you, dog. We'll come back. Invite us. That's it. We're just going to show up and knock on the door now, dude. Like, hey, dude, we're here for the interview. We're ready to go.
But it was a lot of. I've had enough New Orleans though. I'm ready for a year break from there. I'm heading down to Mexico this week to cover that event, which we're going to get to here in a little bit.
Yeah, Puerto Vallarta will be a nice little rehab. That's a good place to go. Just chill for a while.
Oh my God, it's going to be crazy. But hey, please, I think you need to tell the people about our new sponsor, Tag Heuer.
Dude, you got to know about Tag Heuer. You got to bring your golf rounds to the next level. Passionate about golf? Tag Heuer is setting a new dimension in watchmaking through cutting-edge technology with the newly released Connected Caliber E4 Golf Edition. Swing detection and shot distance tracking, interactive maps, smart scorecard, the Tag Heuer Connected Caliber E4 is the high-performing companion to any golfer who wants to take their game to the next level. The Tag Heuer Connected Caliber E4, together with the Tag Heuer Golf app, is the ultimate companion for on and off the golf course, designed for performance, ready for everyday life. Visit tagheuer.com/golf to learn more. Golf from the golf course to the boardroom to the bar, Tag Heuer. Ladies love it. Fellas love it. You're like James Bond, basically.
Styling.
Mm-hmm. You know.
I love it. Make sure you go get that Tag Heuer watch. It's absolutely incredible. All right, Sleaze, and our guest this week is an absolute beauty. Has become basically a social media sensation over the last few years with his Masters updates. Chris Vernon does a radio show, podcast out of Memphis, but has really gotten famous over the last couple of years with what's going on at Augusta. And it is absolutely incredible. We had so much fun with him, learning where this all came from. And it's amazing how many people have caught on to this, and they just love this guy.
Dude, the players love it. He's getting reached out, by everybody. I didn't know who Chris Vernon was. Rewind a handful of years ago. Then that came up, and it was like the only thing I heard about. People were saying, what's going on at Augusta? Everywhere you went, and this thing has exploded. Now it's to the point where it's like 2 weeks leading up to the Masters. People are like, anticipation for it. Like, what's he going to do this year? He's got the little dancing animals in the back. Honestly, this is the biggest tip of the cap I can give. The first time I saw him do it, I was like, why didn't I think of that? How have I not done that? This is brilliant. People are going to love it. It's funny. It makes golf fun. He's added with the green jacket and the chains and the tattoos, which we'll get into. But this thing's a smash. I'm like, even the players. How many times have you been around Tony Finau out here in Scott and someone says, like, where you be now? Or something like, if you're looking for his, like, Tony Finau, where you be now? Looking for his ball or whatever. It's like, it's just one of those things that sticks, and he's done a hell of a job. And he's an awesome dude. First time talking to him, he's all time.
All right. Well, before we get to Chris Vernon, we are proud to announce Doers as the presenting sponsor of Subpar and the official Scotch whiskey of the 122nd U.S. Open at the Country Club in Brookline, Massachusetts. Discover Doers' remarkable lineup of Scotch whiskeys, most notably their 12, 15, and 19-year-old limited champions edition developed in partnership with the USGA. Doers is the perfect after-round indulgence, extraordinarily smooth yet complex. Enjoy Doers double-aged Scotch whiskeys any way you like, be it neat, on the rocks, in a whiskey highball with a twist, or classic old-fashioned. And it's now time for the Doers Cheers of the Week. And I'm going to throw this out there for you, Sleaze. I'm going to go, this is off the golf course.
Okay.
So yesterday, I was on the broadcast. We get to the ninth hole, which is a very diabolical par 3 there in New Orleans. A lot of trouble can happen. And I actually just learned about this morning. So I was saying, this is one of those holes that Patrick Cantlay and Xander Schauffele could really struggle. You could make a big number there. And I was like, and we saw it earlier in the day when Kevin Kisner and Scott Brown made an 8 in the alternate shot format. So apparently the coverage was on in the locker room. Kiz was already done. There was a bunch of people sitting around watching it. And I said that, and apparently he just goes, "Fuck you, Colt." And the whole place just starts dying laughing. I don't know if we're allowed to use that for the cheers of the week. I just thought it was funny.
Hey, dipshit. I'm right here. I can hear you.
All right. Well, here's Chris Vernon on Golf Subpar.
Okay, folks, we got the biggest musical sensation out of Memphis since Elvis himself. He's triple platinum for his single, What's Going On at Augusta. He also moonlights as a radio host with the Chris Vernon Show and hosts the NBA and NFL show podcast on The Ringer. Chris Vernon is with us. What's up, Chris?
Thanks for having me on, guys. I'm a huge fan of yours, so this is exciting.
Man, we appreciate it.
First off, got to give a shout out. If you're watching on YouTube, you are definitely the best dressed with your Dallas Cowboy sweater on. Love that. I didn't know you were a Cowboy fan.
I am a Cowboy fan. So my father, I grew up actually in New York, but my dad was born and raised in Tennessee. And, I think that it's very common. You'll find fans all over the country that are a lot of Cowboys fans, a lot of Steeler fans, a lot of Raider fans, because when the NFL started to get good, if you were in a market where you didn't have football to watch, you didn't have a home team, then that's what was on TV. Those were the teams that were good. And so my father was he was a Cowboys fan from like the 60s. His favorite player was Roger Staubach, and he loved Tom Landry. And so it's all I knew when I was growing up, right? Like, and obviously I have a good relationship with my dad. I love my dad. So I liked it. I think you can go one way or the other, right? You can either like resent it and go the other way and root against whoever your dad likes, or you could just decide, hey, I'm going to root with him. And still to this day, he's now retired. He lives 100 yards from me. And me and now my son go down and watch games every weekend.
Well, it's been disappointing for a while, but
I know.
Hopefully this thing turns around.
Yeah,
but you could do it together. You're disappointed together.
That's true.
Misery loves company. That is for sure. But yeah, you're in Memphis now. Give us the road of how you got there. I rattled off some of the shows that you're doing right now. You're a busy dude, but give us a little background. All our listeners are going to know you from what's going on at Augusta, which we're going to get to. But how'd you get to the point where you are with radio and podcasts and all that?
Okay, so I'll try to do this quickly. I went to college. My parents are both from a very small town in Tennessee named Henderson, Tennessee. They're both from there. And in the summers, I would go to like church camp or basketball camp. And my grandparents and my aunts and uncles were all there. There's a small Christian school there named Freed Hardeman. And I went to school there. And then when I got out of college, Memphis was the closest big city to where I'd been. I'd done internships and whatnot throughout college, and I had also like called the basketball games and had a TV show in college, all this stuff. I had done a lot of media stuff, and I just was going to go. I had a couple buddies that were going to move to Memphis, and so I just moved there at the same time. I didn't know what I was going to do. I got a job at the local sports radio station, and then I worked in radio from then until I guess it was – pretty much on and off. I did radio, and then I actually left. I had gotten in trouble over something. I can't even remember now. And I left radio, and I went and did stand-up comedy for like, I don't know, 6 months, 8 months, something like that. And then I came back to radio after that. And when I came back to radio, then I was pretty well in Memphis doing the Chris Vernon show until 2016 or 17. At that point, Bill Simmons was starting The Ringer, and I was going to do pods for him. There was no way I was going to be able to do podcasts and the radio show that I was doing, because I was doing 3 hours a day. And so I ended up, the Grizzlies were going to start their own media company called Grind City Media, and they were willing to build us a studio with like cameras and everything and have the whole setup. And so me and the buddies I do a show with, we all just left, packed up, and went over there. And that way I was going to be able to do the Ringer podcast, and I was going to be able to do. And that was, at that time, it was crazy. But now it doesn't seem crazy at all, right? Because I just felt like at that time I'd gotten in a fight with the radio station anyway. And it was, I'm like, yo, if they're finagling about paying me, this is the wrong business to be in. Because we were number one for 4 straight years, and they're busting my ass. And I'm like, what's going on here? The money ain't coming in, right? Like, what is going on? And obviously, I knew I wasn't going to be a radio star in 10 years, so I tried to get to the internet quick.
Well, it's worked out pretty well. Bill Simmons, The Ringer, has just been a huge success. What's it like working alongside Bill Simmons?
I love him. I actually met him years ago when he was on the Countdown show on ABC for the NBA, and the Grizzlies made the Western Conference Finals, and that's where I first met him. And we had stayed in touch. And in fact, oddly, Grantland, which was the site at ESPN, had written about Masters updates that I did. And he's like, yo, if you ever do anything like this, you got to let me know. We'd love to put it on Grantland, whatever else. And so we kind of stayed in touch over the years. And then when he started up the Ringer, that's when he reached out to me about doing that. But he's been the best. He's been great.
It sounds like NBA is your big passion, correct?
Yeah. Just because when I moved to Memphis, there's a college football guy. There was a Memphis Tigers guy. There was there's somebody that everybody listened to for these different subjects. But I moved in 2000. That's when I got to Memphis, and the Grizzlies came in 2001. Mm-hmm. And so for me at that moment, which was a very good decision, it was, all right, if I go to every press conference, I go to every game, I can be the guy associated with this. The people are going to listen to hear about this team. I'm going to have the institutional knowledge. Nobody's ever going to be able to say, even though I'm at that time in my very young 20s, nobody's going to be able to say that they went to more games or that they – and now we're all these years later, and I've pretty well gone to all of them. And I do the TV broadcast for them now, at least pregame and postgames for Bally Sports, which is the local feed. It's been great. And so I think that's why I got very deep into the NBA then. I was not – growing up, I didn't grow up in NBA markets. I loved Michael Jordan like everybody else did. I loved the NBA and I loved, the stars, but it was not something that I, lived and died with, but certainly it's become that way.
Yeah, now you're the Grizzlies guy. You've been there since the jump, and you get a lot of those dudes. I was looking on your Instagram in studio. So we got, recurring guests that we love on this show, that we love on the radio. Give me your guys that like when these dudes come on, like this is going to be a good one.
Look, the best ever is Garnett. Kevin Garnett came in studio and we got, it only happened one time because he never does any of that stuff. Very rarely. Maybe if he's promoting something, but he happened to come in town. He was doing a thing for Turner. Anyway, I cannot tell you the amount of calls we got about that podcast from bosses, NBA, everybody else, because it's just the N-word and the F-word just over and over. And you're just sitting there in shock disbelief, but it's just the way he talks. And his stories are absolutely unbelievable. So he's for sure an all-timer. He came in with Tony Allen, who did weekly bits with me. And Tony's electric. One of the most hilarious people that I know. I'm trying to think who else is like an automatic, everybody's going to love it. It's usually, it's not usually the athletes, I would say, maybe less so than some media members that people really love, right? Either some media members or, we've had a lot of comedians in. Comedians are always big for people. But in terms of our regular guys, I would say Tony, by far, the most popular. People love him.
Well, I'll tell you what, the city of Memphis has got to be buzzing right now. We're in the middle of the NBA playoffs. You got Ja Morant over there. It's just, what's Memphis like right now?
So now I think that this whole season just took everybody by surprise. This was not the expectation to be had the second best record in the NBA. Bunch of young guys. They drafted really well. They've got a guy that we expected to be a star, but typically they got into the playoffs through the play-in last year, and typically you go from like a play-in situation to okay, now we're like middle of the pack. Maybe we could compete for half a home court to then hopefully you're a contender. And they just skipped the middle step completely, and usually there's like an ascent to like superstardom where it's like, here's a guy that everybody knows is good and thinks there's great things on the horizon, can be in the future one of the best players. And then, he takes a step where he becomes a star player and then he becomes a superstar. And so it all kind of lined up where it's like Morant he skipped the star step and went straight to superstar. And then the Grizzlies skipped the middle, like, hey, we're in the middle of the pack. Maybe we can fight for home court advantage type stuff all the way to the top. So it's just been a dream the entire year that they're even in this position. At this point, you're just praying that nothing about it becomes a disappointment.
No doubt.
Right?
And you're the guy that's got the ear of all these dudes. You are the man in Memphis. What do we got to do to get Ja in the dunk contest? What's it going to take? Can Chris Vernon make that happen?
Never. It'll
It
never
doesn't sound
happen.
like it.
That's
Nah.
tragic.
Well, and you know what? I know that's tragic. It's the dunk contest fault. It's their fault. You know what I mean? Because it's not just him. None of those young guys want to do it anymore. You watch it. This last year, I mean, it's a disgrace.
No, it's the worst thing
you watch
ever.
that thing.
It was terrible.
It
You
used to
watch
be
that
like
thing, and it's like,
that was the
who
thing you
wants to
put on
do
your
that?
resume. Yeah.
yeah, no, they need to pony up $1 million.
That would change things. 100%. Totally agree with you.
I mean, right? If you are not getting the desired result, motivate people. All right, so what motivates them? You'd have a field if you want to put some real money on the line.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
you need Ja, you need Zion, you need the young
Yeah.
guys that everybody wants to see. And right now, it's like that's the thing you just skip. Like, oh, dunk contest, let me go get a drink. It used to be like, hey, I got to be sitting on my couch when this thing starts.
Yeah, pathetic.
Well, let's
So
get
I
in.
don't think you're not going to see him do it. Nobody's going to risk that injury to
Yeah, that's a good
get
point. The injury
the
thing's a
goofy
problem.
trophy. I mean, nobody cares about a trophy.
Yeah. Well, I feel like most of our listeners are going to know you for one thing, and it's not basketball. It's
Right.
for what's going on at Augusta, which you come out every year with the Masters updates. I think you've been doing it since 2019, correct?
No, we did it.
Way longer?
God, yeah, way longer. We
Well,
did
it
it as
became
a
famous
radio
in
thing.
2019.
Yeah, we had video.
Yeah.
We had video, and the 21. Wait, is it 20? Whenever the one that blew up. So they always did pretty good, and they always certainly got people's attention, but they weren't like mega viral. The one that blew up was the fall one.
2020.
We just got very lucky. So it's a good bit. It's funny, and it always did well for us. I mean, we've been doing it, God, I don't know, probably a decade. I actually it's funny you say that because I told my producer, I said, you know that book, the Malcolm Gladwell book that everybody always quotes, where it's like the 10,000 hours, whatever.
Oh, yeah,
And
to
I
become
said,
an expert? Yeah.
Yeah, I think I've done the 10,000 hours of Masters updates, and it's just like I became expert level where we were able to pull it off because we started doing it on radio, and it was just a radio bit years and years ago, and then we kept doing it, and then, of course, a couple years ago when we got the studio with cameras, that's when we turned it into a video bit, and then the 2020 year was everybody's inside. It's all COVID.
Oh, yeah.
And so everybody's quarantined, and there's also nothing going on, except for at Augusta, of course. There's nothing going on, and everybody's attached to their screens, and more importantly, they were looking to laugh about something. I mean, it's hard to go back to that point in time, but there wasn't any funny. Nothing was funny. Everybody was miserable. Everybody stuck in the house. It was awful. And so I actually think like the one that came out because of quarantine and because the Masters was played in the fall, that's the one that like super broke through. And I have wondered if it had always just been a spring thing, if it would have broken through in the same way. I suppose it's possible, but I just think we were right place, right time when a lot of people saw it for the first time.
I mean, yeah, now it's huge. I mean, you got people tweeting you about it, other players tweeting about you. But how did the whole idea come about? Like, was it when you did it when it was just on radio? Was it with that much energy, that much craziness going on?
Yeah, there was. Yes. Well, at that point, like when you're doing radio, you're just trying to get people's attention, doing everything. And so we had always done a bunch of songs, parody songs, or whatever else. But with that one, it really just began as making fun of it, making fun of the Masters and how I want to say it might have been, what was the old dude's name that everybody hated? That like he was like, you remember when they were doing all the no women allowed and all that stuff? What was that guy's name?
Billy Payne.
Billy Payne?
Nah, was it before
Hootie
him?
Johnson.
Hootie.
Hootie Johnson. That's who it was.
Yeah.
Hootie Johnson. And it just seemed like so like buttoned up. Like I think it was when it originally started, it was like, what would make the biggest mockery of how buttoned up, how nobody else is allowed type of thing that this is. And golf coverage was even, it just had the it had the whispering thing going on, and it was, that has actually come a long way, as have the Masters updates, because at the time, golf was, I think that there's a lot of people that are my age and y'all's age that have made golf cool. 10 years ago, I'd have never listened to y'all, a golf podcast, or any golf podcast for that matter. I listen to all manner of golf podcasts now. I got on Malbon pants right now. I've got on, you know what I'm saying? Like, half my closet is these Bad Birdie, Malbon, like, because all these guys that are like my age, they're all now like having companies and like Eastside Golf and all these, they're trying to make golf cool again. And it's like, when the Masters update started, there was nothing cool about golf. And that is the kind of thing that when we're doing the updates, the true golf fan, they hated them. So it's like an evolution, right? Now, 10 years later, or how many ever years we did it, now those are the guys I play golf with. Those are the guys I gamble with. Those are the guys I play with. Those are the guys that are starting these cool golf companies and whatnot. And so they grew up on hip hop, so they like that angle to it. And they're not like, they're not stuck up. It's not their dad's club anymore. And so I do think that, there's a lot of people now that are part of making golf so much more cool. And like back then, there was nobody talking about golf on air, or there was no like brands or anything that I cared about in the least. Like in the least, like Tiger had the Nike thing, and that was it.
Yeah.
Right? He was cool. But he was cool as compared to all those other dudes. You know what I'm saying? Like, and so that's the weird thing about it. I've never really thought about it that way, but I think that's so. I think that now, between all of these, guys that are part of golf coverage and all these companies that are part of it now, that it's become a cool thing because the people that like it are not just the buttoned up old rich white guys.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, it's changing. The demographic of golf and who's watching, who's consuming it is definitely changing. But when your video first blew up in 2020, you said, even though you've been doing it a long time, that's the one that really hit. Tons of people were reaching out to you. I mean, this thing was everywhere. Did you hear from anyone at any point where you're like, holy shit, I can't believe that person saw it? Like a tweet or a text or anything like that?
Jenna Sims.
Really? What Jenna say?
I lost my mind. And I mean, you want to talk about something getting screenshotted and sent to everybody you know. I couldn't believe it.
You got Jenna's attention. It's not easy.
I was like, this is insane. She put out an Instagram story of her and Brooks listening to it at some place, like wherever they were. And so, yeah, the Jenna Sims one, that was it's just because then Brooks tweeted about it.
Yeah.
And that one was where and then like, as it got passed around, the Tommy Fleetwood hit us up. I saw a video of Paul Casey and Sergio Garcia watching it. The golfers, just the idea that like the guys that so many of the names that we rattled off in the song either heard it or dug it. That was the craziest to me. In terms of like, I don't know. I mean, there's like famous people that are musicians or there's people like that. But the ones I was shocked by were the golfers and or people associated with those.
Yeah, and then you got the whole collaboration this year of Trevor Immelman, Scotty McCreery, Jenna Sims, and their chef. Scott Van Pelt's a huge fan of it. I mean, you randomly they get the top 10 plays the week of the Masters, and it's always what's going on at Augusta. I mean, it's incredible.
Yeah, all those dudes. I mean, I got to tell you an unbelievable story too about that. So I came up with that idea very last minute. I was like, you know what? I got all these people that have hit me up about this. I was like, I wonder if I could just get them to say, that's what's going on, Augusta. We could put a mashup together and we could play it before we do the updates this year. And so I start reaching out to different people. Now, a lot of those people I know like personally, so I wasn't scared to, or I've met them in the past. And so I start getting like all this response, like they're sending it back. They're like, yeah, of course, love to, whatever. And so I start getting all this response. And so one of my buddies that is actually a member at the golf course where I play here is he was college roommates with Scotty Scheffler. Okay?
Oh,
yeah.
Bobby
in fact,
Hudson.
they mentioned
Bobby Hudson.
No.
Huh?
No. They mentioned him on the broadcast. It's Jimmy Sexton's son.
Okay,
who is like one of the biggest power agents, that there is. And so I reach out to him and I'm like, yo, you got to get Scheffler for me, because I'm thinking I'm going to be able to get this dude. I'm going to be able to get Scheffler on this deal. And so he reached out to him and he says, man, he hadn't gotten back to me yet, but he's one of those kind of dudes that he turns his phone off the week of the tournament.
It's
he's that kind of guy. And he only kind of responds to like family. He's not one of those guys that you can like get a hold of. And he's like, but I'm gonna tell you what. He's like, I'm gonna go through the wife. He's like, I'm gonna go through the wife and I'll be able to get her. And I was like, you know what? I was like, look, even if she can't get Sky to do it, I was like, get her to do it. I said, shit, hell, she's in the damn winner's circle every week. She's famous, right? And so I'm like, all right, why don't you go ahead and get her? And so he tries again. And then by the time and I'm like, man, I am so sorry, because I did not ask him in time. Mm-hmm. Like, it would have been a miracle to be able to get this thing pulled off. And so he gets back to me. He's like, hey, man, I'm really sorry. I wasn't able to get it, whatever. And then, of course, as I'm watching the tournament play out, I'm like, yo, are you serious? Yeah. Like, what is happening? Like, that was 100% no-brainer. Like, that was one of those, like, autos that I could have gotten, because I know he's Kyle's roommate.
Yeah.
Buddies with him.
That would have been incredible if you'd have had him before he actually won. Oh,
can you believe that? And then the other one, which I botched this too, is the guy who's Hovland's coach just moved out full time. You guys probably know him.
Jeff Smith?
Yeah, he just moved to Memphis.
Oh, from Vegas. Did he really?
Yeah, he just moved here. He's setting up shop here. Yeah, and so his guys come in town all the time. And so I seen Hovland out. Like, they all come through because they work with him. And I botched that too. I botched it. And so it's funny, everybody always talks about like, the things that got away are the ones that bother them rather than how awesome it turned out to be. I'm thinking to myself, the Masters champ would have been on there if my stupid ass would have just thought of it a week earlier.
But now you get to ratchet it up for next year. You got to keep ratcheting this thing up. People are like looking forward to this the week before the Masters. Like, oh, here it comes. We're gonna get the next. What's going on at Augusta? Where do you go from here to keep? I mean, you got the Bumblebee and the Walrus. Love those dudes, by the way. They're fantastic. But how do you keep scaling this thing up?
So we've gotten a bunch of people that have reached out in the past that like are willing to be a part of it. And this year I thought, like, you know what, we're not gonna, I'm not gonna have like a special guest come in, and in fact, my boss offered to pay for like flights and hotels if I wanted to like invite somebody in to be in it. You know what would have been the most unbelievable? Is friggin' Charlie Hoffman.
Yes. Because y'all always shout him out. Where's Charlie Hoffman? I mean, Scott Van Pelt even said it during the video.
If that dude would, if he'd have just showed up in the middle of it,
they could have just walked in and looked around. Dude, you could have him in a seagull costume. I was going to offer this up. You got a seagull into the mix because that's his nickname, the Seagull. You could throw that in the song next year. You have a seagull out there dancing, pops the helmet off, and bam, it's Charlie. People go batshit for that.
They would go crazy. So, yeah, either a reveal where it's like either a celebrity or somebody like that. But somebody, I don't want to not give them credit. I don't remember who told me this. They were like, yo, you know what? One of the things you should do next year? They were like, bring in a chorus.
Oh, yeah.
Like an entire, like a children's choir. Like an entire children's choir behind me, like singing it before it begins, right?
You don't want to take any shine off your hype man, though.
No, they'll still be around.
They could be in the congregation.
Who is that guy?
So this is what's crazy. Oh, that's Roser. He's been my producer for, God, I don't know.
He's fantastic.
God, what a producer. Mark, you listen to this, bud? Or are you going to get you decked out?
15 years, at least. I mean, he dropped out of college because he believed in the show. It's great.
That's
it's
awesome.
A great story. He was my intern at the radio station, and he was going to college and doing the internship. And I went to the boss, and I'm like, yo, will you make this kid my full-time producer? And I went to him, and I was like, look, they'll make you a full-time producer if you want to do it. And he dropped out of school and started doing it. And so, yeah, he's the hype man. And then, like, the mascots, it takes an incredible amount of endurance now. And people love typically the bee. The bee was the official mascot for the Memphis Redbirds. He's like this is not a kid's game, man. That's a real trained ass mascot. You can't just put you can't put some bozo in a mascot costume and just think they're gonna be good at it. He's real.
That's awesome.
He's got like years under his belt. And I'm trying to think. The dog, Corinne, who works with us in the video department, she's training as a decathlete.
That's good training.
So you got to have real stamina to be in that costume. It's hotter than hell. You can't breathe. And I owe it to them. I don't think that if we don't have those, if I don't have my furry friends behind me, it's not the same deal.
Is it all live, or do you have to do like cuts and retake back? All right, I stumbled, go back. All live? Okay, so there's no two takes. Okay.
That's one take. That is
you got to be on your game, bro.
That's filmed live.
Do y'all get together before it all and pick out like which players you're going to go at it all? It's just all, boom, these rhymes are just
whatever the leaderboard is.
Yeah, you got to go with who's on top.
That makes it even better.
That's why I told you, 10,000 hours, brother.
I hope Christian Bezadenhout gets in the hunt next year.
Oh, my God. See, now that's as natural as it gets, that one, right? The Christian Bezadenhout, right? Because I'm trying to say his name. Obviously, I haven't practiced it. I mean, that's not a bid. I don't know how to say this guy's
Nobody does. Even nobody.
Yeah, nobody knows who this dude is. And so, yeah, there's like, I'm trying to think like, almost all, I would say that like, there's a few times ever, and I'm trying to think if I could think of one offhand, where I've told my producer, if this guy's at the top of the leaderboard, and I yell this, here's a couple ad libs. You can choose from whatever you want. But very rarely, most always, they're like the ones that we get the most response on, like ad lib wise, from him, are things that he came up with on the top of his head, and it's hilarious. Like I think my favorite one ever. Well, it's up there at least. I'd have to go through them, but we did not know who Will Zalatoris was.
Sounds like a store at the mall.
And I said it, and his ad lib was next to lids. Next to lids. Like, he really almost made me laugh in the middle of the bit because that shit was funny to me. Next to lids.
I like that one.
There's not a mall in the world. Lids and Claire's are in every mall in the world.
I like the homie Max Homa, and then It's a Bogey Party. That was fantastic when he was 5 over.
Yeah, because we didn't know. And you know what's crazy? He's one of the few guys, you guys saw him on the video. He's one of the guys that I've actually stayed in contact with him. I've known HV3 for a long time because we played in the Pro-Am together. And the Homa thing was he had reached out on Twitter and whatnot about it. And then we start communicating. And then I went and met up with him in Memphis because he was in that FedEx last year.
Yeah,
he's just one of the best dudes ever, by the way.
Oh, so the best.
Our lead producer for CBS is from Memphis, Sellers Shy. And so
nice.
I was telling him the other day, he's the one who actually got me in contact with you. So we were talking about, I said, hey, I got him to come on Subpar. And he's like, dude, you wouldn't believe, in the trailer, he goes like, when we go to different players, we use a lot of his sayings, like Tony Finau, where he be now, and a bunch of the other ones. Like when they're sending it to shots, they say a lot of the stuff you use.
That's hilarious because, and I worried about Finau in Memphis because, I mean, I was out there walking on a course and, you know, just trying to stay discreet, but I could hear there's a bunch of drunk college kids and people would send me like every weekend, somebody yelling it at him, kids yelling it at him, drunk college kids, whatever else. And they'd send me these videos. He'd tee off and you'd hear somebody yell it or whatever from the back. And I was like, man, I hope he doesn't like end up presenting this.
Oh,
you know what I mean? I know he's the coolest dude, but you know, I didn't.
I'm at the Phoenix Open this year, and they still yell where he be now. You know, like that. I don't think that'll ever go away for him. But by the way, yeah, he didn't. That's like a feather in your cap.
You know, there was one that somebody yelled. It had nothing to do with our Masters updates, but we had already done the Masters updates, and I think it was at the final round of the Masters. And I was like, oh my God! Again, it's always the ones that get away, right? The Scotty karate thing. God, how did I miss that? You know what I'm saying? Yep. I think we did something about everything in Texas is big or something for him, but
Scotty karate's good.
Oh, what a blown opportunity.
Another one they always using the CBS because Paul Casey, he always smiling.
Oh, he is always smiling. What did he pull out for?
He wasn't smiling.
That's the only time.
How often, like when you're out in public now, how often people coming up and being like, what's going on at Augusta?
Yeah, him and a lot of the it was weird. Like the 3 weeks leading up to it, a lot of guys at like the Grizzly games would yell it. Like when I was walking through the hallway or whatever. Yeah, you know, Memphis is it's a small big city, right? So, you know, I think that it actually people outside of Memphis probably I don't know. It's hard to say. I honestly, like outside of Grizzly games, I really don't go many places. You know, I go to the golf course, you know, if I'm going to go have some fun. Busy. And then my kids are 12 and 9. So pretty much outside of work and then driving. I'm just an Uber driver for them and whatever games they've got going on or whatever. So I'm not really out and about to where people could scream it at me all that much, but certainly. No doubt. At that golf tournament, I mean that's my people out there, right? When the FedEx comes, I hear a lot of it, and it's funny because some of those guys, like say Zalatoris, like they've become big names on the tour. It's kind of crazy. So I'm thrilled. I mean, I can't even honestly like this is gonna sound like I'm kissing up to you, but when you reached out, I was like, I can't believe this, man. I can't believe this guy even knows who I am, like, or that he even saw this. Because I do watch. I'm that guy, you know, again, I'm that age. So, like, I watch that stuff. I watched the PGA Tour live, and you were on there. I'm saying, like, morning rounds. So if I'm getting up, the kids go off to school with my wife, and I would watch those morning rounds on, like, Thursdays, Fridays, or maybe even Saturdays, and you were doing that stuff with guys back then. I remember there was one. In fact, you'll remember this. There was one that I watched, and it was Bubba Watson. It was a group, weirdly, with Bubba Watson and Wesley Bryan, and they were obviously gambling on every single hole. They were like the first ones to tee off. They were so far out of it, and there's jokes about it, but I watch tons and tons of golf coverage. It's just become, I don't know. I think one of those things where you become older and you find something that you latch onto. And so I watch tons of golf coverage, and the idea that, you or any of the people that I watch all the time, right? And I told you, you were like, yeah, I have a podcast. I'm like, man, I know you all have a podcast. I've got it. You know what I mean? Like, in fact, you know which one I've saved of y'all's episodes? I love when you have on the golfers, because they keep it real with you guys. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, they talk to you guys. That's how people want to hear. They talk to you like your friends, right? Rather than it's like a straight interview. I've saved it and I haven't listened to it, but you can tell me if I need to, because I feel like I'm going to get mad.
If you want to find out a lot about what's going on, you'll like it.
I have not listened to it yet.
I don't think so.
I know I'll find out, but am I just going to be the whole time?
I don't think it will.
That one, that one is like an actual interview. Like, that's not a dudes chopping it up, having drinks, telling stories type of deal. That was like, he made an announcement. Okay. Here's my new events that I'm putting out. Then we like ask him about those. It's not like, hey, give us the old war stories from Augusta, or give us stories from, back days. That's more like informational.
I know.
Well, maybe just listen to the Pat Perez one again.
I know what he's talking about.
Just run back Connie or listen to Mark Grace. That's probably more up your alley.
I love it. Well, as you know, then we got to get to the emergency 9 before we let you get out of here. We know you're a very busy man. Yeah. We'll run through this E9 real quick. And we ask this to everyone. You can trade lives with anyone for a day, dead or alive. Who's it going to be?
Oh, wow.
Get to be him for a day.
Trade lives.
It doesn't matter.
Any day of their life. No, they can be dead.
Are they alive?
You can be alive, though, being them. You don't got to be dead.
Yeah, be weird.
Yeah, it'd be a shitty question.
It's going to sound crazy, but I think I would say somebody like somebody that gave back in a massive way. It's one of those things that I feel like I need to be better about. You know how you all have those things that it's like, hey man, I've got a platform now, I should be better about, like, enriching people's lives, and not just like, I try to use it to make people laugh, right? That's what we try to do daily. So I would say somebody that brings that kind of value to people. Jeez,
you can be Chris Rock and get
Gandhi. Mother Teresa would be a good one.
Yeah, Gandhi. That's fine. Yeah, it'd either be
Chris Rock and get slapped by
Will Smith. Be jaw for a day.
Right? Then I'll be like, you know what I mean? Like,
and just dunk on people's heads.
Be jaw for a day. You wouldn't want. Yeah, that would be amazing for those 2 hours. Afterwards, you don't want to be him. Not now. You get mobbed everywhere you go. You know what I'm saying? Like, you guys have hung out with famous people. It's awful.
Different world.
It is. It's not fun. Yo, it is not fun to hang out with famous people, because you see what it's like, and everybody's got their damn cameras out and taking a picture of them, and like, then they're forced to like be a prick to people if they don't want to take a picture or sign an autograph. I'm like, man, I don't know. So being famous, that's not like, or that level of fame, that's, I don't know, man. That perfect. I got to be him for the whole day. That's not that intriguing to me,
Gucci Mane.
Maybe like
that's
Gucci
not what
Mane.
I thought we'd get, but I
Gucci
like that.
Mane. Yeah. Or Rick Ross. I know Rick Ross because he owns about 10 wing stops in Memphis, so he'll come through. So he already banned their Holyfield's house.
Yeah, it's right outside.
You need to go look this thing up.
56,000 square feet or something like that.
And amazing. So he owns that. And if you follow him on Instagram, he feels like he's living the life. Like he'll buy like an ice cream truck, and then he'll buy like an ambulance, and then he'll buy, it looks so much fun. So I know Instagram's not real life, but it is in his. Like, he really is buying this stuff. Like a camel. Remember, he bought, a cow. I think it was a cow, and then he bought like he wakes up in the morning and thinks of something he always dreamed of buying.
Rick Ross.
That's a good answer. I had him on radio a while back, and he was like, "Oh yeah, I'm going to Morocco and then Dubai," and I'm like, "What the shit are you doing? Like, how much stuff do you own, bro? Like, you make good music, but damn, like a chic." Yeah, that's a good answer. I like that answer. All right, I'll give you the first one here. Which Memphis icon's been more important to the fabric of the city as a whole? Elvis Presley or Jason Williams?
All right.
It's close.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think that's.
I know.
Jay Will just wasn't on good enough teams.
That's Sleaze's favorite player.
I mean,
yeah, it's my all-time. He's 1A or 1B with Nick Van Exel, but yeah.
Yeah. Also,
yes.
A Memphis guy as an assistant coach here. He was a assistant coach for like 3 or 4 years.
No, never been around Nick. This is my all-time favorite player
him?
Growing up. Used to shoot free throws from 4 feet behind the line, and I shot 48%, but I did it just because of Nick.
I'm being dead serious to you guys. I'm going to give you a little tip on this. So I know Nick because he was here for years, okay? He is addicted to golf.
Cold.
All you would have to, A, a guest.
Wow.
B, all you would have to do is invite him. And he's a scout.
Okay.
I'll talk to Jake and get this done.
Now, I just saw, I've seen him recently. But he plays.
This is great.
All the time.
Okay.
All the time.
That's done. We're doing that. We're doing that.
Dude, this is gonna happen. He would probably come on the podcast.
That's the only jersey I own.
Perfect.
I've ever owned, I think.
Yeah, he loves. That's the more you know, right? There's so many of these NBA guys that are super into it. But Van Exel, he played all the time when he lived here, all the time.
Penny loves it.
He played with Penny because Penny's a big golfer. The guy I do TV with, Brevin Knight, big golfer. There's a lot of them. A lot of the retired guys. Vince Carter was a big one that played with Nick a lot.
Oh, we're gonna link on that.
Van Exel, that's an easy one. So Elvis gets it over. Yeah, Elvis gets it over Jay Will, but I promise you, Van Exel would not turn down an invitation to play.
All right, next one. Memphis is obviously known for their incredible barbecue. Give me your favorite barbecue spot in Memphis.
God, it is very, very difficult to choose. Look, all across the board, I love Central Barbecue. I love it. And they've got, but I get wings there as much as I get the barbecue stuff. Ribs. Yeah,
that place is good.
I love Germantown Commissary.
During the tournament, they always do Rendezvous.
It's amazing.
That place is good. Yeah.
Rendezvous great. Rendezvous great. Like, there, honestly.
Yeah, it'll be okay wherever you go.
You can't drive anywhere without there being a great barbecue place. Yeah. You'll be okay wherever you go. But I think when people come in town, like, the surefires are like Central. You're not going to go wrong. Or if you send them to Germantown Commissary, they're not going to go wrong. I'd say those probably come. I eat those the most.
Yeah, a lot of options. Lot of options down there. I'm going to stay with the Memphis theme here, okay? Because you got some rappers with some great names that have come out of Memphis, right? You got Yo Gotti, Juicy J, Crunchy Black, my personal favorite, Kingpin, Skinny Pimp, which takes away. That was going to be my name, but now that's stolen. I got to come up with something new. But if you needed a rap name for your Augusta track next year, what do you go by?
I've had like either like a screen name or like a I even have it on my golf ball.
Yeah,
I have Vernon Diablo.
That's great.
Yeah. I have Vernon. Like, how like you could go to like like golfballs.com. They send you like a damn email every day that it's like, hey, 24 shrink shots for $10 or whatever, free personalization. So I just started doing that like every time. Like, I didn't know what to put on the personalization and I couldn't think of anything funny. So I just started putting El Verno Diablo on these golf balls on the side. So I think since I've already got the golf balls, I use it as a screen name for some stuff.
That's a hot name. That's a hot name.
El Verno Diablo.
Exactly.
It's hot, right? And people would,
Exactly.
and people would
You
think I
got
was laughing, but
worldwide
I'm not.
fanfare with that. You appeal to a lot.
I love it. All right, next one.
Yeah.
When
Yes,
you're
I'm a
when you're doing
Bad
those
Bunny's
videos,
fan.
you got the white shirt on underneath the green jacket. You can see part of a tiger tattoo. I'm not sure if it's real or not, but in this case, we're just gonna hope it's real. Who has the better chest tattoo, you or AJ McCarron?
Oh, that is a bloodbath.
Yes,
Bama
McCarron.
boy.
The
My
Bama
God.
boy? Yo,
I couldn't believe that when I saw that.
It's an outrage. That is the most outrageous.
Dude, he spent like 30 hours
chest tattoo
in the
for
chair
a
to get that done.
quarterback.
And it's worth
And
it.
it
It's
says
a good
Bama
look.
boy.
Great look.
He's gonna be 84 years old with Bama
What's
boy
yours all about?
on his chest. Yeah.
What's yours all about?
Huh?
Is it real?
It's a tiger.
Well, I didn't know if you actually. Some of y'all are crazy. I mean, this guy put Bama boy on.
I was gonna be shocked.
Come on.
I was gonna be shocked
bald
if you
as
were
hell.
like, yeah, dude, I got a whole tiger mural on my chest. I was gonna be like, I misread this book by its cover.
Die Hard Memphis. I don't know.
No. Hey, you know what? I got that done at Amazon.com
That's amazing.
for $4. I just typed in big tiger tattoo because I wanted to put a huge tiger on it on my chest. This year I had two. I had two different tigers. So if you went back and watched past iterations of the Masters update, it was originally one huge one.
It had cubs. Yeah,
gorgeous.
It's having cubs.
I think you should get it permanently done.
Yeah. It had two cubs. I considered it, but I feel like it hurts. I don't really like needles.
El Verno Diablo doesn't need ink. He doesn't need
You know
gimmicks,
what I mean?
dude. His lyrics speak for themselves.
I don't know, and I've made it this long, right?
Oh,
Without,
no.
are you guys tatted up?
Me and needles.
No. No. We're soft, too.
Neither of you have.
But I grew up playing golf.
Yeah.
If I did get one, it would be either
as soft as they come.
Bama boy or a tiger on my chest, though. I just haven't decided which. Got to be one of the two. Yes, can't miss on
tiger.
that. All right, next one. I've seen the video, so I know you can do it. On a scale of 1 to Cardi B, where would you rank your twerking skills?
Oh, I would say. Now, are we talking? Am I male?
Male division.
Yeah, the male division. Well,
or am I competing? If I'm competing with the females,
that's a good
much
point.
lower
It was
score.
1 to Cardi
Amongst
B,
males,
so we'll say the cutoff for males is at 5. Anything above 5 is female.
Yeah, I'd say. I'm probably. I'd say
you're
5.
high.
Then
Top of the males.
I'm the apex mountain.
Mount Vernon.
I'm the king.
Mount Vernon.
I'm the king. I'm the king of the Mount Vernon. There you go. I'm the king.
right.
I'm the king. You know what? My father, when I was a little kid, told us that guy that Mount Vernon was named after was like part of our family. Like if you did the lineage, but I don't
starting to
believe
doubt him.
that. I don't know if that's true. Yeah, right. I think you were just telling me that so I believe it
That's
myself.
a good gift that you got, or GIF or GIF or however the hell you say it that's out there with the twerking. That's nice. That'll live forever.
All right, next one. You might have answered this earlier,
unfortunately.
but you can pick any PGA Tour player to make a guest appearance during the Masters update in 2023. Who's it going to be?
Oh shit!
Okay, perfect.
Tiger.
Over
It's not even
Charlie?
close. Oh my god!
What would you
on.
do if Tiger walked into
No,
studio?
I'm talking if Tiger acknowledged that thing existed, I would lose
I
my
would
mind.
guarantee you he's seen it. He ain't
Lose
a big social media acknowledge things guy.
Look, I'm up in my office. Hold on a second. I'm gonna show
Okay,
you guys
grab
something
it.
real quick. Hold on.
That's what we get.
I
Here we
love
go.
this. This guy's
What's that
fantastic.
chair he's got? Is that a gamer's chair?
It's got to be a gamer.
Some sort of a gamer chair. Yeah.
You couldn't see this, but this hanging on the wall
Oh, yeah.
right behind
That's beautiful.
That's it.
Tiger at St.
me.
Andrews.
The St.
Yeah.
Andrews.
Yes.
Yo, I bet I have. I mean, this is like up in a game room. I probably have no less than 150
Wow.
different
Why don't
tigers.
you get that tatted on your chest? Get
Yeah.
that different tiger.
Yeah, I know. I really should. But yeah, man. Like he hit right at the right time for me. Right. It was like 96. I was getting out of high school in '96, right? And he was, and I have it cut out somewhere. It might be up here. I have this when he was first in Sports Illustrated when he was at Stanford, and he, yeah, man, he was. Everybody my age, just he's one of those very few. So he feels he's the only one that I would get starstruck.
We got to get Tiger to respond. We got to give him some little.
I've met a lot of those dudes. I've met a lot of them, but I would get starstruck by him more so than I think any of the other guys. And by the way, you guys see, and in fact, it's funny I mentioned Stanford. It made me think of, I'm going to give you guys a little tip. So at Stanford right now, that women's team is the best team maybe ever in the history of golf, right? The girl that's on the team that's named Rachel Heck is from Memphis. She's in the video, actually.
Yeah, sorry.
Right?
Yeah.
So, yeah. I played with her last summer, and that is, male or female, the absolute best golfer I've ever seen.
She's got
in
game,
my life.
no doubt. I heard she's killing it in the NIL game.
You guys, you guys have to see it. She is unbelievable. Unbelievable. Like she has a chance to.
She wins everything.
Yeah. Oh, she's
her and her teammate Rose Zhang's
killing it
too. Yeah.
Rose Zhang, they got a big time team, but that girl is going to be like the face of women's golf and take that to a level it's never been before.
Good to hear.
Because her personality's great.
That's what women's golf needs. They need a big American star.
Yep. There's a void there. I didn't know she was Memphis, but now it makes sense.
Yep.
Yeah. All right. She owes a lot to you. Everything you taught her, paying off.
She owes nothing. She owes nothing to me.
All right, here's the last one for me, and this is more of a heads up than anything for when the time comes, because it will eventually come. You need to be prepared for this. But what rhymes for your next Augusta update? What rhymes with Alfie Barnrat?
He's gonna get a green jacket.
He's gonna slide that thing on.
Kiradek, Alfie Barnrat.
Yeah. So. It's one that I have considered before because I always look through all of the names, and we wouldn't do a rhyme thing. We would do Barnrat with him, right? So we would do like Barnrat, where's the cheese? Barnrat, where's the cheese?
Okay.
Like something off of the idea that we can't really say his name, so we're just calling him Barnrat, right? And he would probably be yelling about cheese or something like that. We would not. I don't think we would try to rhyme that. Unless we did it's Alpha Barnrat.
Is
that right?
He's a big spender, so you could always throw like always shopping in there.
There you go.
It would be Alpha. No, it'd be Alpha Barnrat with the gat.
With the gat.
Oh yeah. Barnrat staying strapped.
Alpha Barnrat's got the gat, right? Something with gat.
All right, we got 1 year to prep for that because it's coming.
It's coming. He's convinced. He's going to be. He's coming.
So?
He's built for it.
Really?
Maybe not.
He's just our favorite.
He's just my favorite guy. So
we had him on here, and it was greatness.
He's right up there with J. Will and Van Exel.
He's fantastic.
He's the best, dude.
Oh well, you guys were really going to owe me for the J. Will or for the
Van Exel for sure. Well, that's sleaze, but I'm happy to do it. That'd be great.
Yeah, just
when I see a video of you guys playing golf together.
You will get anything you ask for.
Sleaze just drooling behind him.
Reciprocate. Yeah, I don't like the biggest stars in the world. I like the off, kind of one-off guys. I don't gravitate towards the biggest gun. Van Exel was always the dude, so we're gonna get him.
Yep. And I also, before we get out of here, I do want to give a shout out because I didn't say. All I said was that he was Jimmy's son. He won't mind if I say his name. Parker Sexton is his name, and he played at Texas with Scotty.
Perfect. All right.
And it was his roommate there.
Well, this has been incredible. You got to give us what's going on at Augusta for us.
All right, hold on.
Yeah. Get right.
Yeah, I've got it. Hold on, let me get it. And that's what's going on at Augusta.
Yeah.
That's incredible.
Yes, he went into character. Damn, that's nice.
Chris Vernon, you're the man. Thank you so much for taking the time. We really appreciate it.
Appreciate you, bro.
Oh, thanks, guys. Anytime. Appreciate you.
All right, well, that was Chris Vernon joining us on Golf Subpar. What a beauty he is, Sleaze. It was so cool to see, how this whole thing originated. They've been doing it for years, but but it just recently blew up in the last few years. But I thought it was so cool, like the videos he got from Scott Van Pelt, Scotty McCreery, Harold Varner, all these guys sending the what's going on at Augusta videos to him. But man, by the way, how much do they love Charlie Hoffman?
They love Charlie Hoffman on that show more than we love him on this show, and we love him. He is primed, dude. The Seagull is primed to make an appearance, whether it's a stuffed animal in the background or Charlie Hoffman in person. People are looking for Chuck that first week of Augusta, most notably on Thursday. But yeah, get Charlie in the building there. But that's how big that thing's gotten. Like, players talk about it a couple weeks leading up to it. They're talking like, oh, here comes what's going on at Augusta. Every day you wake up, you're on Twitter like, yo, where is it? Has it come out yet? Like, it's launched, man. It's the real deal.
It's so cool. I mean, how they just do it off the cuff. And just roll through the leaderboard and start yelling stuff. It is just greatness.
His producer on the mic with the ad libs too is super nice. Some of the shit they say after the names get shouted out, like I'm like that's good. That's really good.
Charles Schwartzel, where's the ES?
Yeah, where's just Charles? Yeah,
that was a lot of fun. A little different interview for us, but that one was a lot of fun. And now it's time to step up to the tee and take a swing at betting the PGA Tour on FanDuel Sportsbook. Right now, new customers can place their first PGA Tour bet risk-free. And if you don't win, you'll get up to $1,000 back. If you've been thinking about joining FanDuel, there's no better time to get in on the action. The app is so easy to use. There's a range of betting options like outright winners, head-to-head matchups, nationality props, and so much more. And when you win, Sleaze, what happens?
2 horas, 2 hours. You're going to Mexico, though, dude. You got to know how to hobla a little bit.
You get paid fast. And we are now on to the Mexican Open, a new event on the PGA Tour, new golf course. So this one could be a little tough, but hey, we're going to stay positive. We're going to try to throw you some winners out here. Who do you like this week?
Well, we're coming off a win, by the way, so we're back in the building. Xander, Patrick, thank you for doing that. So we're back on the hot streak.
Wait, we had first and week.
Yeah, we had that thing covered. We had that thing. Will Zalatoris and Davis Riley were right there too. So we had a good week. We're back on track. We're shooting a little bit in the dark here, Colt, because I don't really know this golf course. I don't know what type of player it favors. So I'm just going with guys that I like. It's not the deepest field in the world here, but on my favorite side, going off at 15-1. I think he's the third betting favorite. I'm going to go Daniel Berger. He's played 8 events on tour this year. Only twice has he finished outside of the top 21. He seems to be just one of those guys that's going through fairly quietly, I would say, but just with rock-solid play. Going down there, like I said, there's not a ton of guys that are super high up in the world golf rankings, Daniel Berger being one of them. I'm going to go with I'm assuming it's going to be windy, kind of Florida-ish conditions there down in Puerto Vallarta.
Okay. Very hot.
Okay, yeah, hot, probably breezy. I like Daniel Berger, Florida boy, down there. So I'm going with Daniel Berger 15-1 as my favorite.
All right, I'm going to go with 2 guys who I know have actually played the golf course, which I think is a big advantage. And they're from Mexico, which they just feel obviously going to feel right at home. One of the betting favorites, Abe Answer, going off at 15-1. I really like him. Fantastic ball striker. No surprise. I mean, John Rahm's teeing it up. He's by far the favorite. I think he's going off at like 4.5-1 to win. And then if you look a little further down, I'm going with our man, the Princess, Carlos Ortiz at 50-1 as a dark horse. I know he spent a lot of time down there. He's sponsored by the resort. I mean, it just all makes sense for him to play well.
Makes sense. You just got to figure out, Colt, which way is the wind?
Which way is the wind?
Which way is the wind, Colt?
Down there,
Yeah, he might be asking you that, so keep your head on a swivel when it comes to the wind. All right, for my long shot, not a ton of great recent form except for this past week for this guy. He and his partner finished T4 down there in New Orleans, but he's going off at 50-1. He's a guy that's going to win on the PGA Tour. Already came close earlier this year. He's rock solid. I think this is a good place with not the strongest field in the world to maybe sneak up there and pick up your first dub. Davis Riley is going at 50-1. I like that. I just had breakfast with him. I agree. Beautiful golf swing. Love Davis Riley. He's got a very, very bright future. The Max Homa doppelganger.
Yeah, exactly right. So go low this summer and bet on the PGA Tour. Just download the FanDuel Sportsbook app and sign up using promo code SUBPAR to get your first bet risk-free up to $1,000. Remember to use our promo code SUBPAR to get this special offer today. FanDuel Sportsbook, official betting operator of the PGA Tour. Must be 21 years and older and present in select states. First online real money wager only. Refund issued as non-withdrawable site credit that expires in 14 days. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-NEXT-STEP or text NEXT-STEP to 53342 in Arizona. Call 1-800-522-4700 Colorado, 1-888-789-7777, or visit ccpg.org/chat in Connecticut, 1-800-GAMBLER, or visit fanduel.com/RG in New Jersey, Iowa, and Illinois, 1-877-8-HOPE-NY, or text HOPE-NY 467-369 in New York, or 1-800-522-4700 in Wyoming. That's all, Slaves.
Bam. That's all you got to do. That's all the numbers you need.
All right. Everyone have a great week, and we'll talk to you on next week's Golf Subpar.